Welcome to Fenway Park on a gorgeous night. The Blue Jays looking for the 3-game sweep of the Red Sox right here in their home ballpark in Fenway. And of course, the Red Sox scratched John Lester. He was the scheduled starter, and there's not a tear in that dugout right there over the fact that John Lester is not pitching tonight. Blue Jays won 14-1 in the opener, 4-2 last night behind Marcus Stroman. Take a look at the lineup now for the Blue Jays. Top of the order is the switch hitting shortstop Jose Reyes, and then Melky Cabrera. What a start to his second half. Post All-Star break, he's hit 408, 10 extra base hits, and he's driven in 14. And then how about Munenori Kawasaki? He has done a terrific job. He has contributed in every aspect of his play. And on this road trip, he's hit 500 with 3 RBIs, and he scored 3 runs. Tonight, he is at third base. Goins and Ghost round out the lineup. They're set to take on Brandon Workman, just back from AAA.
Yeah, recalled today from AAA to take that spot that John Lester was going to throw in this ball game. Workman has lost his last 3 big league starts before he was sent back down to the minor leagues on July the 8th. He's 1-3 in 8 starts this season. As you can see there, a .413 earned run average. He's faced the Blue Jays once. That was in 2013, last season, when he made a relief appearance against the Blue Jays. He is a former second-round draft pick back in 2010. And here he is in the big leagues trying to fill some big shoes for the Boston Red Sox.
Defensively behind Workman in the outfit, it's Gomes, Bradley Jr., and the Gold Glover Shane Victorino in right field. On the infield, Sander Bogarts. The youngster at third base, Drew and Pedroia up the middle. Brock Holt moves all over the field. It's almost like, where is Brock Holt tonight? Tonight he's at first base, and the young catcher is Christian Vasquez making his 11th start of the season.
He's a good one. 11th big league start, like you were saying. 1.7, that ball gets down to second base. He's got a fantastic arm. He's calling a good game. The pitchers love throwing to him, and he's a key and a centerpiece, I think, for this Boston Red Sox team for years to come.
Certainly is. He's the type of guy that you can build around, that's for sure. And I believe that the team takes on the personality of their catcher. First pitch of the ball game. Up and away, and we are underway. It is 22 degrees on a perfect night at Fenway. Jose Reyes, leadoff man last night. A couple of hits in 5 trips to the plate. Blue Jays are starting to get that killer instinct in the second half, and they really need it tonight. They've got to finish off the sweep. Jack Evans has been very pleased with the attitude of his ball club. He says there's an electricity in the clubhouse right now.
A 5 that he was talking about yesterday. He said it wasn't there right before the All-Star break when they really limped into that 4-day period where they were off. But since they have come back, they have really lit a fire underneath these guys.
Blue Jays have won 4 in a row. They've won 8 of their last 10. They're 2 games back of the Baltimore Orioles. And why not? You should be excited. 3-1 to Reyes. He's taking all the way. It's full count. Brandon Workman is 25 years old. He is in his 4th professional season. Ball 4. Lead off walk for Reyes. Well, the Blue Jays have really been pounding that baseball in the second half, and Melky Cabrera has led the way. We talked about his 408 average since the All-Star break, and he's been a big contributor to these offensive numbers since the break.
They're number 1 in batting average since the break. Look what they're doing, scoring almost 6 runs a game, which is second in the American League. They're hitting the ball all over the field, and I like their approach at the plate. We've seen a much better approach. Even with the 3 regulars out, everybody's starting to contribute. They're taking their walks. They're scoring their runs. They're doing what you have to do offensively to win ball games.
Melky Cabrera had a 2-homer night here in the opener on Monday night. 311 for the season, 14-59. He homered from both sides of the plate in that game on Monday night. He is the first Blue Jay to homer from both sides of the plate in a single game since Greg Zahn did it in Seattle against the Mariners, September of 2006. Jose Cruz Jr., Roberto Alomar, Devon White, and Robbie Alomar once again the only Blue Jay hitters to homer from both sides of the plate in a single game. 2-0. You can bet the Blue Jays are going to try to work Workman over. Excuse the pun, but they're going to make him throw strikes.
Yeah, he's got decent control, at least numbers-wise. Right now, he might be a little bit too excited, just getting called back up to the major leagues, trying to fill the shoes of John Lester. Right now, he's overthrown.
Well, you can bet Workman was put on alert. I mean, this just didn't fall in his lap last night. Minor league pitching coach probably gave him a heads up. Hey, there's a chance you could pitch on Wednesday night in the big leagues.
His last start was July the 24th down in the minor leagues. He just gave up 1 run over 6 innings in that start.
Another good take by Cabrera. It's now 3-1. Bautista is on deck.
He's got a lot of movement on his pitches, and what the Blue Jays are doing right now, they're very patient. They're making him clear that ball in the middle of the plate. You can see from that shot right there on pitch track that just hasn't found that release point yet. It's all over the place.
There's a strike. Full count. Reyes at first. He walked to start the ball game. Flag hanging limp in center. Not much of a breeze at all. A perfect night for baseball.
What a shot right there, isn't it? Isn't that beautiful?
There goes Reyes. The ball is fouled into the seats.
They will time the pitcher. Tim Leeper over at first base has got a stopwatch, and he will click that on every pitch just to get an idea of the time that it takes the pitcher to release the ball. If it's 1-4 or above, he's going to go ahead and tell his base runner, go ahead, try and steal the base right here. That's a good time to run.
Reyes running again, ball 4. Back-to-back walks for the Blue Jays to start the game. We mentioned the team really doing a great job with the bats in the second half. There are some individuals that have gotten off to great starts.
Crazy on base plus slugging average since the All-Star break. Melky Cabrera at 1-1. Jose Bautista the same way at 1.124. Juan Francisco up around that 1.0 spot. Also, the major league average in 2014 for all players in the big league is 760. So you can see they're really above that.
Jose Bautista, 2 on, no outs. Breaking ball missed. Well, you know Bautista's going to work the pitcher. He has been so patient all season long, waiting him out, getting a good pitch to hit.
You can't really afford to pitch around him here in the first inning after he gave up a couple of walks. He's got to come into him, doesn't he?
He's trying. There he finds the inside corner. One ball, one strike to Bautista. Jose has 18 career home runs in this ballpark. Down and away. Brandon Workman is not close right now.
And the Blue Jays are not helping him out. Up and away. Bautista can really keyhole here. He had a first inning home run in the opener in New York on Friday night. A 3-run home run on a 3-0 count off Hiroki Kuroda. That was a pitch that was down and in, and he jumped all over it. He can do the same thing right here, 3-1.
Home run cut, fouled it straight back. Jonner Navarro is on deck. Still nobody out. Blue Jays might start the runners here. John Gibbons has been rolling the dice and doing unusual things.
It's worked out for him. They had that hit and run single last night where Anthony Ghost got a big insurance run for the Blue Jays there in the 9th inning. Showing confidence in Bautista that he'll make contact. That's why if they do send the runners. That's why. Jose's been hot.
Not running. Breaking ball, strike 3. Workman dropped the curveball on Bautista. Gets the first out of the inning.
I was talking to Anthony Ghost before the game, and I was asking him about Workman. He says he's got a good curveball. He faced him down in the minor leagues this year, and he shows confidence. After not being able to throw his cutter and his slider and his fastball over for strikes, he throws the curveball to Bautista and strikes him out.
He and Vasquez, the catcher, have worked together in AAA, so there's a comfort level there. 1 out. Johnny Navarro, the catcher. He takes the first pitch strike. Navarro did not play in the series opener with R.A. Dickey pitching that game. Last night, Navarro took the collar. He was 0 for 4. Breaking ball for strike 2. Blue Jays need to finish off the deal against Workman here in the first. He issued back-to-back walks. They've got to take advantage of that. Bounced in the dirt. Nice play by Vasquez. Squared up on that ball in the dirt and kept it right there at home plate.
It's quick, very quick behind the plate. I asked him today who his hero was growing up, and of course he said Ivan Rodriguez. I said, well, you remind me of him the way you move around back there behind the plate. Quick feet. He unloads in a hurry, and he's got a cannon for an arm.
Up and away. It's 2-2 now. Yadier Navarro is from Venezuela, and there have been some good Venezuelan catchers. Of course, the late Baudillo Diaz was a great catcher, and Victor Martinez as well. Terrific hitter, switch hitter like Navarro. Up and away, 3-2. Two walks already this inning.
Does he go back to the curveball here?
Why not? He hasn't been able to locate his fastball.
Yeah, it's the only thing that has been working for him so far. Struck out a tough hitter in Bautista.
Juan Francisco is on deck. There go the runners. Breaking ball. That's going to be a base hit. Reyes is going to score. Melky Cabrera goes to third as Navarro delivers the first run of the game. For Navarro, his 43rd RBI. He's got that stroke down pat, just flared it into the outfield and picked up the RBI.
And John Gibbons has put him in that cleanup spot for a reason. He says he can drive in some big runs for us. He's coming up with some clutch hits. Here's another one. Curveball goes to it, and this time Navarro serves it into right field. Good job by Melky to read that ball off the bat. They were running on the pitch, and he read that that ball was going to land into the outfield, and he goes all the way to third base.
Yadier Navarro with the RBI. Blue Jays lead at 1-0. They've cashed in one of the 2 walks. Melky Cabrera walked. He went first to third on the Navarro single. Now Juan Francisco, who had a pair of hits last night. Francisco finished up 2 for 3. Keep the line moving if you're the Jays. Fouled outside of third. Blue Jays don't have many players that have at bats against Workman. Made just one appearance against them last year, and that was in relief.
Through 3 innings, had 4 strikeouts, gave up a couple of hits. But you can bet the youngsters know all about him. The guys who faced him this year down in AAA.
Bouncing ball, that's a fair ball, and Hope comes home, and he's safe. Melky Cabrera with a straight leg slide. Stuck his leg on home plate. It looked like a high tag from Vasquez, like he tagged him up high on his body. Brock Holt, playing at first base, came home, and Cabrera got a good break on contact. So the play on the field is fielder's choice, RBI for Francisco. Cabrera scores, and John Farrell got the wave off from the Red Sox dugout.
Brock Holt is playing first base. He moves all the way around, but you're right, that tag was too high. Watch Melky direct line right to the plate, throw your foot on the base, and he's safe.
Boy, he sure is. Again, I've got to emphasize, look where Vasquez is.
Yeah.
He came out away from home plate. There has never been a run scored anywhere other than home plate. So why do you go away from home plate? If he stays right there in home plate, and you can give him an angle, but then he doesn't have to reach for Melky Cabrera. So the Blue Jays, 2 runs here in the first, and they've taken advantage of those back-to-back leadoff walks. Francisco picks up his 41st RBI of the season. Colby Rasmus with a long home run to center last night.
Do you think where Vasquez caught that ball is a direct reflection of the new rule at home plate, that they have to catch the ball out in front of the plate?
Yeah, I believe that is. But I also believe he doesn't have to be that far away. But I think he's conscious about giving the runner a lane.
Yeah, so do I.
And I think that's a real flaw in that rule. 1-1, 1 out. There's a good fastball for a strike. It's 1-2. Blue Jays have done exactly what they wanted to against the starter tonight. They have made Brandon Workman throw a lot of pitches. He's thrown 30 pitches in the first inning. Breaking ball in the dirt.
Boy, what an approach at the plate so far. They got the scouting report from Kevin Seitzer. He says lots of cutters and a very good curveball, but let's make sure he throws strikes. And that's what they're doing.
I think the hitters have found out, especially after the All-Star break, that if you look for strikes and hit strikes, you're going to have success. Rasmus hits the ground ball. Bogarts goes to second for 1, not in time at first. Bogarts, the only defender on the left side of the infield, made a nice play to get the lead runner at second. Navarro moves from second to third, but Rasmus is aboard at first.
Boy, if he could have hit that just a little bit harder, that is a base hit to left field, and the inning would have continued with another run on the board. Just got in on him a little bit. He just couldn't get it extended and through on the left side.
And now Munenori Kawasaki. Kawasaki's had a good series. He's had 3 hits in the series. Mooney drove in a pair of runs on Monday night with a double over the head of the left fielder. Part of that 9-run inning. Kawasaki entering this game batting .294. Boy, that's that patented inside-out swing that he just tries to slice that ball into left field.
Especially with 2 strikes now. Fastball, watch him. Hands go first. The barrel lags just a little bit. To beat that, I think a good curveball would be the good pitch right here.
1-2. High fastball. Kawasaki strikes out, but the Blue Jays break out on top. They scored 2 runs on just 1 hit. Take advantage of a couple of walks. The lineup for the Boston Red Sox: Brock Holt has done a good job as the leadoff man. Shane Victorino, then Dustin Pedroia in the 3rd spot. He's put up big numbers against Mark Burley. 375 career average. He's got 4 doubles and a couple of RBIs. And right behind him, Mike Napoli is back in the lineup tonight. He was not in the lineup last night. He's got a banged up finger, but he has hurt the Blue Jays this year. 10 for 29 with a pair of doubles and a homer. Mike Napoli is the DH tonight. It is a right-handed lineup against the left-hander, Mark Burley.
Big start to his 2014 for Mark Burley. Now he's just looking for his first win since June the 1st. Rough outing last time out to the mound. First game of this road trip, it was his shortest outing when he only threw 3 innings, gave up 9 hits and 6 earned runs to the Yankees. Since that June 1st win, he's had 6 losses and 3 no decision. Time for him to turn it around and help the ball club.
He throws a first pitch strike to Brock Holt. Holt has done a good job leading off. They had, of course, lost their leadoff man to free agency. Jacoby Ellsbury signed with the Yankees. And Brock Holt, he was not planned on to be the guy, but he has certainly worked out well. Curveball in there for strike 2.
Starting to drive the ball. That's why he is in the lineup, starting to get extra base hits and come up with good at-bats at the top of that lineup.
Blue Jays lead it 2-0. Mark Burley has had leads early on in this losing streak. Hasn't been able to protect those leads. Ground ball. Bautista at first tonight. Steps on the bag. 1 down. Well, John Gibbons has done a heck of a job of mixing and matching, especially on defense. Tonight it's Cabrera in left. He's always in left. Rasmus is in center and Ghost is in right. Lots of room in center and right, so you've got good speed out there. Kawasaki at 3rd base for the 7th time. Reyes and Goins up the middle. Bautista making his 10th start at first base. And Gianna Navarro has clicked with Mark Burley all season long.
And Gibby said today he wanted to figure out a way to keep Anthony Ghost in the lineup, and Jose Bautista will move into first base then. Mark Burley is a fly ball pitcher. Colby Rasmus had the day off yesterday basically as a DH. He's back in there. Ghost is in right field. Bautista has to move into first.
Shane Victorino, the right fielder. Two balls and a strike. Victorino, once a switch hitter, no longer doing that. There's a fly ball into shallow center. Ghost coming over from right. Makes the catch, 2 down. Well, you can never pick up a pattern on Mark Buehrle. He will mix it up. He's got a lot of pitches to mix up.
So many options that he can use to try and get you out. If something's not working, he can go to something else. He's got the fastball, his changeup, his curveball. He cuts the ball really well. He can cut it inside to the righties. He'll backdoor him. He'll use that slider. He's got so many different ways to try and get you out. And he changes speeds also. He doesn't throw very hard. That's obvious. But he could change speeds and get you leaning out on that front foot.
Dustin Pedroia, a 375 average against Buehrle. Hits this one to the left side. It sneaks through for a base hit. Pedroia's 16th career hit against Mark Buehrle.
Looked like a breaking ball right there. Pedroia stays back, just hits it and finds a hole on the left side. Kawasaki gives it the try, the dive, but he's not going to come up with that one.
So Pedroia's aboard with a 2-out single. Mike Napoli will bat in the cleanup spot. No David Ortiz tonight. He's getting the night off. Napoli had last night off. He's got a swollen finger, his ring finger. He broke it earlier in the season and started to flare up a bit. Blue Jays never really mind when Napoli is out of the lineup against them. He has always put up big numbers against the Blue Jays.
Well, he's a perfect complement to this ballpark, isn't he? His swing, he's got a long swing. It's a fly ball type of swing. You pitch him up, and he's liable to hurt you.
Buehrle, even at 83 miles an hour, jams him with that fastball up and in, and that's the book on Mike Napoli. You've got to crowd him because of that long uppercut swing.
Try not to let him extend those arms to the baseball.
Trying to get him to chase that changeup. You know, pitchers will play off a hitter's ego, and hitters hate to get jammed. That's the worst thing a hitter can do. And when Napoli got jammed with the 83-mile-an-hour heater, Buehrle's thinking he might chase this changeup. Hits it right back up the middle right there for Ryan Goins, and the inning is over. Red Sox get a 2-out single and nothing more. Blue Jays have an early 2-0 lead. Last night, Stroman pitched 7 strong innings and recorded a career-high 8 strikeouts.
You know what I like about that strikeout performance? Half of them were swinging, and half of them, they took them for strike 3. Tells me that they just didn't know what to do with Marcus Stroman last night. When they're looking for the breaking ball, he'll pose the fastball. When they're looking for the fastball. He throws the curveball. He's got so many ways to get you out. His breaking ball is one of the best that we've seen in a long time around here.
To his credit, he hasn't shaken off his catcher. And Deanna Navarro's done a terrific job with Stroman. Ryan Goins rips it into right field. This is a totally different Ryan Goins than we saw back in April. A leadoff single here in the second.
Looked like a cutter from Workman, and he works it out over the middle of the plate, and Ryan Goins, not wasted any time, rips that ball. Earlier in the year, they were knocking the bat out of his hand.
Before we forget, we want to make sure we pass along birthday wishes to Melissa Goins, Ryan's mother. He said, can you say happy birthday? And already, Melissa, he's given you a base hit as a present. Anthony Ghost, the number 9 hitter.
Boy, now he's throwing some head around, isn't he?
Boy, he sure is. He's swinging it with confidence. Anthony Ghost is swinging with confidence as well. He had a 2-run double in last night's game. The youngsters starting to feel comfortable in their role with this ball club.
Ryan was telling me yesterday how comfortable he feels in a different way. He said, what's the worst thing that can happen to me? I can get sent down again. I've already done that.
That's a great point.
They sent him down earlier this year, and you know, that's devastating for a young player. But his attitude now is, what's the worst thing they can do? I've already gone through it.
Hey, Roy Halladay went back to the minor leagues after nearly throwing a no-hitter. 1-2. Bounced in the dirt. But you can see the young players gaining confidence with each game, with each win. And now they've been a huge part of this late surge.
And to his credit, John Givens keeps playing them. That's what I like. We're not changing anything, he says.
No catch, and now Goins is in a rundown. And Brock Holt puts the tag on. Boy, that's a bad break for the Blue Jays. Nice play by Brock Holt. That ball was headed for extra bases. And it's a tough play for a first baseman because you're holding the runner wrong. You bounce off, and then you go back toward the bag.
That was going to be a run for the Blue Jays. Nice play by Holt. Right to his glove side. He catches the ball right here. Knocks it down. Presence of mind to pick it up, touch the bag for the out, and now he's got Ryan Goins in a pickle, and he's not going anywhere. 2 down.
Brock Holt does a nice job no matter where they put him. Reyes goes after the first pitch. Goins with the single is erased on the double play, and he couldn't do anything. He was going to be out either way. If Holt catches it, steps on the bag, it's a double play. Off the end of the bat, Pedroia waits on it. Promising inning. Down the drain quickly. We go to the bottom of the second. Jays still with a 2-0 lead.
Brought to you by the 2014 Honda Civic, Canada's best-selling car 16 years in a row, and the official vehicle of the Toronto Blue Jays.
Beautiful evening in Boston, and everybody out in the water having a good time. And if they're not out in the water, they're here at Fenway Park. Johnny Gomes bats and goes after the first pitch, rips it back to the screen. Gomes having a good year batting against left-handers this season. Not always been the case. He's kind of an unusual player in that sometimes he gets handled by lefty pitching. He has a knack for covering the outer half of the plate, and those left-handers can pound him inside pretty effectively. But this season, Gomes has done a good job batting .313 against lefties. Takes a changeup, and he's behind 1-2.
4 home runs and 21 driven in against the lefties. .632, that's what he's done for the season.
That's a fly ball. Plenty of room for Melky Cabrera. He's well in front of the warning track. Gomes is retired. Let's check in with Jamie Campbell. Fifth home run Adam Jones has hit since the All-Star break, and the Orioles are just not going to fade away. They had comeback wins. They had walk-off wins. Manny Machado with a walk-off home run last night, and they're playing with a lot of confidence right now.
Against very good competition. They went through Oakland, Anaheim, Seattle. Now they're playing Anaheim or Los Angeles again, the Angels. And they're not shutting it down. We got to the ballpark today, and the big rumor was John Lester was going to get traded to the Orioles.
Yeah. How about that? And that was talked about in many different corners, that's for sure. Stephen Drew, the shortstop, behind 0-2 upstairs. John Lester, it appears as though they're going to move him. John Henry, the owner of the Red Sox, has had many different financial calculations, and he believes that you don't give pitchers long-term contracts. Drew hits that high breaking ball all the way down into the corner, and he's going to coast into second with a one-out double. His 6th double of the season. Of course, he's had an abbreviated season, not signing until the middle of May.
Ball that was up. Looked like they might have wanted to go inside against that one. Ghost goes over there and digs it out. He was telling me today that Jose Bautista was giving him pointers on how to play that right field corner here. Don't get too close to the ball. Let it rattle around out there. I'll give him a double, but I don't want to be too aggressive and give him a triple.
Yeah, if you go in there too hard and it gets by you, it's 3, maybe 4. Yeah. Xander Bogaerts hit a home run here last night. Bogaerts batting .372 against the Blue Jays this season. He was 2 for 4 in last night's contest. Bogaerts has big power. It's going to come. He's 21 years old. He's a guy that's really impressive, and he's had some growing pains this year. Reaches for that off-speed pitch.
The problems have been in the field. He's had his problems in the field. Brian Butterfield was telling me today he really believes he's going to be a good hitter. And I said, why? He said, go shake his hands. He says he's got big hands, and they're strong. And eventually that's going to transition into a power hitter. He's a big kid.
Brian Butterfield, of course, has been around baseball his whole life. And he knows what a baseball player looks like. His father, the late Jack Butterfield, was a terrific minor league farm director with the Yankees for years and years. Brian played, coached in college, and has had a phenomenal coaching career in the majors.
And his mom still watches our broadcasts.
Yes, she does.
Loves watching the Blue Jays.
Full count, 1 out. Blue Jays lead it 2-0. Ground ball over Burley's glove. Reyes, it's short. Oh, what a nice play. 2 down. Well, fans, we want to remind you there's great tennis action going on right now on Sportsnet 1. Canadian Milos Raonic is in round 3 of the City Open in Washington, D.C. Of course, next week, Raonic and the rest of the best players in the world will be in Toronto for the Rogers Cup. So this is a tune-up leading up to the Rogers Cup next week. Jackie Bradley Jr. hits it on the ground. Nice play by Goins. Saves a run for Mark Burley. Ryan Goins doing it with his bat, and he's always done it with his glove. Makes a good play behind the 4-time Gold Glover Burley. This looks like it's going to sneak into the outfield, but Goins makes a nice play to end the inning. Cover every angle of the Toronto Blue Jays. Breaking news, photos, videos, and tweets. The Blue Jays Rundown only on Sportsnet.ca. And the Rundown headline tonight, the Jays clubhouse wants to win now. And they are all clamoring for some help, but at the same time, they like the team they have right now. They're really playing well as a team. Improved defense of Ryan Goins showing itself off tonight. Goins swinging the bat with confidence. Dan Johnson's made contributions. Munenori Kawasaki, Anthony Gose. All of the call-ups have really stepped up.
And I think it's going to be a week, maybe 2, before we see Brett Lawrie get back. And Edwin Encarnacion and Adam Lind. Wouldn't that be a shot in the arm?
Laurie's got to go into rehab. He's been out so long, and there's a possibility that will take place next week. And the same for Encarnacion. Anytime you miss a month, you've got to get game at bats. And that's the beauty of the rehab assignment. It's a relatively new phenomenon that ball clubs can send a player to the minor leagues without risking him to the waiver wire. And players for a long time balked at that move, but it's great for both the player and the team. Brock Holt flashing the leather over at first base so far tonight, takes one away from Melky Cabrera. He did the same earlier off of Anthony Gose's bat. Well, you can put this kid anywhere.
And he's not going to hurt you. He can play the outfield, which he has done. He has started every infield position. 7 positions this year Brock Holt has started.
It's invaluable for an American League club that you can have an infielder that can play in the outfield, especially when everybody's carrying a minimum 12 pitchers, sometimes 13. Jose Bautista struck out his first time up. This is a pop-up behind second. Pedroia out. Makes the catch. Well, John Lester has been the topic of discussion. Radio, TV, talk shows. Everybody's wondering where John Lester is going. He was supposed to pitch this game tonight. Obviously, the Red Sox are in trade discussions with other teams, and you could not send him to the mound and jeopardize the possibility of him getting hurt put him in that position, and then all bets are off.
And if he doesn't get traded by tomorrow at 4 o'clock, the plan is that he's going to start, I believe they said, on Sunday.
John Farrell suggested he would start on Sunday. Lester is proceeding as if he's going to start. He took batting practice today. Looking forward to interleague games. But there are a lot of teams certainly that are inquiring about John Lester. The Red Sox don't want young prospects. They want major league ready players. They are not in the mindset of rebuilding. They know they've got to trade Lester or sign him, and they're not going to sign him.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to. You mentioned it about the
John Henry.
Yeah, the statistical analysis of pitchers over 30, giving them long-term contracts, that you start eating the contracts after 34 years old. So you give them a 6-year contract, you're paying $40 million. Really, for the last two years of that contract, that's doing nothing. So they don't want to do that, and they've got plenty of money. And they're not in the business of rebuilding. They're in the business of winning.
John Lester will be tough to replace, and there are no pitchers that you could just pencil in. Plus the fact, you know what he does in this atmosphere. For 9 seasons, he's done nothing but win. 110 wins, a 3.64 ERA. He's made 3 All-Star games. He's pitched in 2 World Series, and he can pitch in his atmosphere. Not everybody can do that.
That's a great point. Those 110 wins, 9th on the list. Bob Stanley is next on the Boston Red Sox all-time list with 115 wins. He's 4th all-time in strikeouts, number 1 for left-handers. And innings pitched, over 1,500 innings pitched for the Boston Red Sox, which is 11th all-time in their history.
And this is a young man that missed time early as he was battling with cancer. He beat cancer. He's a horse. He's strong as an ox. He's a tremendous competitor. And he can pitch in this supercharged atmosphere. This is not an easy place to play.
It's not, and it's like New York. Not everybody can pitch in Boston with the media scrutiny the way it is, the fans that are all over you. Jonathan Papelbon was a guy who could pitch here and close out ball games in this ballpark. John Farrell says John Lester is the same way.
Francisco takes it upstairs. It's 2-0. Edgar Renteria was a great player in the National League. Came here and crumbled under the pressure and scrutiny that you live with here as a Red Sox player.
A.J. Pierzynski came here. He'd been a veteran of what, 12 years in the big leagues? And it was tough on him.
Francisco with a foul back. You know, a lot of times, and I can understand the concern. Yeah, if you're going to sign John Lester for 6 years, he's 30 years old, so he gives you 4 good years. How about if he wins 2 World Series in those 4 years? You just write off those last 2 years and say, thank you very much. We got 2 more World Series rings.
Well, can you win? What if you don't win the World Series? You know, then you're going to write that one off. I mean, it's a tough decision.
John Lackey's been talked about a lot as another player that's going to be on the move, but the Red Sox aren't going to move him, and it's a real interesting situation.
Yeah, when they signed him, they said, okay, we're going to tack on 1 year. If you go out and miss a year because of arm problems, we're going to add a year at the end of your contract for $500,000. So he signed for next year because he missed a couple of seasons ago.
As a high pop-up. Pedroia, the second baseman, takes charge. The inning is over. A 2-out walk. Blue Jays leave a runner. We'll head to the bottom of the 3rd. Jays up 2-0. all starts next Tuesday. The Blue Jays take on the Baltimore Orioles at Rogers Center. It's a 3-game series, all games at night. They all start at 7:07 p.m. Call the Blue Jays for tickets at 416-341-1234 or log online at bluejays.com. Hey, get your tickets for the biggest series of the season to this point. Orioles in town to take on the Blue Jays, the battle of first place in the AL East.
Let's fill that joint, right? Get the fans out there and get them behind the Blue Jays. That's going to be a big series.
The Orioles are playing the Angels now. And it'll be interesting to see how those pitching matchups sort out. Kevin Gausman is pitching tonight for the Orioles. The Blue Jays have Monday off after 4 games in Houston. And you would expect that the Orioles have Monday off as well. Right back to Burley. Tough to get it by a Gold Glover. 1 down. So the next 4 days for the Orioles would be Bud Norris, Wei-Yin Chen, Miguel Gonzalez, and Chris Tillman. So Tillman will pitch on Sunday, so the Blue Jays might miss Chris Tillman, even with the Monday off day. Ubaldo Jimenez, the big right-hander, had a rehab start last night in Aberdeen in the rookie league team for the Orioles. He went 4 2/3 and pitched out of a bases-loaded jam. Some positive things coming out of that outing. But there has been speculation that the Orioles are in talks with the Red Sox. Melky Cabrera calls for it, and Brock Holt is retired.
Yeah, as long as it's not John Lester going to the Baltimore Orioles and having him pitch against them. They still have that series and then another one in Baltimore and then one more to end the season.
Yeah. The Blue Jays will have 3 series against the Orioles. They're 5-5 going up against Baltimore so far this season. Number 2 hitter, Shane Victorino. Burley pours that fastball in there for a strike. Ground ball. Kawasaki dives. Reyes from the hole. Strong throw in time. Good inning for Mark Burley. 3 up, 3 down. We move to the 4th in Fenway. Reyes showing no signs of shoulder problems. He throws a laser from short to throw out Victorino.
The 2014 Honda Civic, Canada's best-selling car 16 years in a row, and the official vehicle of the Toronto Blue Jays. And by Home Hardware, homeowners helping homeowners with expert advice.
Gorgeous shot High above Fenway Park, Charles River in the background, sun setting off into the west, and there's no mistaking that iconic stadium. Green monster there, the right of that shot in right field, 37 feet high atop of that green monster. Colby Erasmus hit into a fielder's choice his first time up. Blue Jays are 9-3 against Boston so far this season. They've already won one more game against the Red Sox this year than all of last year. Johnny Gomes makes a nice running catch. Ball slicing away from him. He stayed with it to retire Erasmus.
Keep swinging it, Colby. They're going to find a hole sooner or later. He's been hitting the ball solid on this road trip, but he just doesn't have anything really to show for it. This ball slicing away from Gomes. Gets a good jump on it. Not really known as a great outfielder. Makes a good play. That surely was extra bases for Colby Rasmus.
Once it gets by him, it's 2 for sure. Munenori Kawasaki struck out his first time up, playing at third base tonight. Kawasaki has a 4-game hit streak. He's got 6 for 12 coming into this game. Batting .319 in July. That might have been a strike, but because Vasquez, the catcher, boxed it up, it looked like a worse pitch than it was. Mark Wagner, the home plate umpire, called it a ball. It's 2-1. On the ground, Pedroia. 2 down. Brandon Workman starting in place of John Lester tonight, and he's an interesting guy that's got some power, and he's got a nice assortment of pitches as well.
Yeah, he'll use the fastball. His cutter is an excellent pitch, and he'll keep going back to it. Lots of cutters that he will put into that against the batter. His curveball is an excellent one. It's one of those, quote, 12-6 curveballs that go from top to bottom straight down. It's a swing and miss pitch. It's a plus pitch, I think, his curveball. There it is right there. That cutter, it works like a hard slider, and it's about 88 to 89 miles an hour. Batters this year against that cutter, just 161.
When you talk about pitches, and everybody will talk about Major League average. Well, when a pitcher has a plus pitch, it's a tick above Major League average. Then you get into plus when you've got the real good breaking balls, like a Marcus Stroman.
That's a plus breaking ball. You can get a lot of swings and misses, a lot of strikeouts with that. The superstars are the guys who have plus fastballs and plus breaking balls.
Aaron Sanchez has a plus fastball. Movement and velocity. 1-2. Goins hits it on the ground. Tough to get it by Brock Holt. He's had a good night with the glove. 3 up, 3 down. The Blue Jays go quietly in their half of the 4th.
iPod Touch.
Android and BlackBerry. Season-long subscription packages are available. Visit BlueJays.com for more details. MLB.com at bat. Check it out. Great way to keep up on everything that's going on in baseball. In another couple of weeks, we'll be down to the real crunch time in baseball. You want to make sure you have your at-bat so you can stay up to speed. Dustin Pedroia hits it deep into center. Rasmus got a good read off the bat and runs it down in that triangle in deep center field.
A lot of room out in center field. This ball was hammering. It looked like it was going to the gaps. Colby stays right with it. It's the time of the night where it's really tough to take your eye off of that ball. Look where you're running and then try and pick it back up in the night sky. He did a good job of finding that one. That is what Colby's looking up into. You can just see why the ball can disappear on him.
Yeah, that ball will get lost in that twilight sky. One out, Mike Napoli. DH tonight. Each club with just 2 hits. Blue Jays scored in the first inning. Brandon Workman, the starter, walked the first 2 batters. There's a drive to left field. Melky Cabrera back, jumps off his glove. Napoli is headed for second, and Cabrera will get it back to the relay man, Mike Napoli, with a double off the glove of Melky Cabrera, his 16th double of the season.
Melky had a shot at catching that ball, but it was hit so hard and it got out there so quick, he just couldn't get back on it. It's a curveball that Napoli hooks to left field. You can see Melky trying to get back. It actually goes into his glove, but just didn't have time to get himself set. And if he gets himself set, he makes that catch.
He has a little bit more room than he thought. He jumped for that a little bit early, but Napoli ends up at second with the double. Johnny Gomes flied out to left his first time up. This is what's so challenging about playing the Red Sox here in this ballpark. Get one off the wall and one over the wall, and just like that, it's a tie game.
They're all tied, especially when you've got a left-hander out on that mound. You're going to load up with those right-handed bats.
The Red Sox, like the Blue Jays, have not done well against lefty starters. They are 17 and 19 against left-handed starters this season. The Blue Jays are 14 and 15 in that category. And this is a ball club with the likes of Napoli, Pedroia, Gomes that you would think would hit very well against lefty pitchers.
Yeah, it doesn't matter if it's at Fenway Park or wherever. They have the track record in their career. Pedroia, Napoli, Gomes. Guys that in their career, Victorino, they've hammered lefties.
Dustin Pedroia not having a typical season by his standards. Batting .274 with just 4 homers. 3-1 to Gomes. Stephen Drew is on deck. Pulled on the ground. Kawasaki takes his time. In time. 2 down. Let's check in with Jamie Campbell. The Blue Jays handled Brett Gardner very well in their series in New York, and he's taking it out on the Texas Rangers.
How many is that now for him, home runs? He had 10 when we were there.
14.
14.
He's got 14 home runs, and the Yankees are really pounding the baseball. Last night they won and neutralized the impact of J.P. Arancibia's great night. Arancibia drove in 7 runs, and the Rangers lost.
A couple of home runs, one of them being a grand slam. 12-11. Yankees won that game.
Pulled the foul. J.P. Arancibia went 4 for 5 with 7 RBIs against the Yankees, making him the 9th player since 1920. That's the year they began to record RBIs. With at least 7 RBIs and 4 or more extra base hits, including a grand slam home run. What a night. Unfortunately, the Rangers lost. There's a fly ball to left. Much easier play. Melky Cabrera there. The inning is over. So we move to the 5th inning at Fenway. Blue Jays have a 2-0 lead. Now it's time for Blue Jays Central Update. Here's Jamie Campbell and Greg Zahn. Partnership and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of Rogers Blue Jays Baseball Partnership. Now, Blue Jays trying to sweep the Red Sox here at Fenway Park. They won all the games they've played here so far this season, 5 straight. They've been out hit, but they have the lead. Anthony Ghost robbed of extra bases his first time up. Hit one right to the first baseman. Looked like he was headed down into the corner in right field. May have been 2, possibly 3.
Yeah, and that was with a runner on base. So the first baseman was right there. Holt made a nice play. He's not holding anybody on. That ball is down in the corner and probably 3 with his speed.
There's a strike. 2-1. Ghost tries to bunt the breaking ball, and he was out in front of him. The Blue Jays sent Cole Gillespie to rehab. He's going to play games in the minor leagues, and he's kind of a forgotten guy. He was with the Blue Jays for such a short period of time before he had to go on the disabled list. But he is now on a rehab assignment in the Gulf Coast League. Justin Masterson of the Indians got traded to the St. Louis Cardinals today in exchange for James Ramsey, a 24-year-old outfielder. Those had a good cut. We're just on the verge of seeing more trades, and you can bet people are trying to figure out how to improve their ball club.
Phone lines will be burning up tonight, I think, and all day tomorrow up until 4 o'clock.
Ghost will take ball 4. Leadoff walk for Anthony Ghost. That's the way the 5th inning starts.
The 2014 Honda Civic, Canada's best-selling car 16 years in a row, and the official vehicle of the Toronto Blue Jays.
Nothing like some hot kettle corn on a comfortable night here at Fenway Park. It's a nice food court they have out there beyond the bleachers in right. I know because I've tested it. Goes for the big lead. There he goes. He got a great jump. Vasquez throws it offline. Anthony goes had a running start. Brandon Workman didn't give his catcher a chance at all. That's stolen base number 11 for Ghost.
Vasquez is very quick and very accurate, but watch the jump that he gets. He is almost halfway to second base when Vasquez finally has the ball. No chance for the youngster to throw him out.
Yeah, he's got a strong arm, but he needs some help from his pitcher. Ghost now in scoring position. Stephen Drew broke in behind Ghost, but Workman stepped off the runner.
It was against Vasquez that he had a stolen base back at Rogers Center. Clay Buchholz was on the mound. He stole second base and then tried to steal third in the same at bat.
Perfect bunt by Reyes. Workman takes his time, throws it in the dirt, and Ghost is going to score. While the Blue Jays continue to play small ball, they put the pressure on the defense to come through and make plays, and right there, Workman couldn't make the play. So Reyes is credited with a sacrifice bunt. Workman charged with the air. No RBI.
Perfect time to do that. Right after the stolen base, get the bunt down, make that pitcher try and field it. You always want to see him field it because this could happen. Throws it right into the ground in front of the first baseman. And by the time Dustin Pedroia runs that down, Ghost scores the third run.
Reyes liable to run. Not on this pitch as Cabrera takes a strike. Jim Leeper keeps the clock on the pitchers, and if they get to that mark of 1-4, they'll break. 1-4, the first movement from the pitcher to the time the ball hits the catcher's glove.
And he will do it on every single pitch. You can see him right after every pitch. Take a look at that stopwatch to see what the number is. If it's above 1-4, you combine that with the 1-7 that the catcher has, and that should be enough.
.17 is an exceptional release time for a catcher. The average is about 2 flat, maybe 2-1. But if you get any catcher that throws under 2, that's exceptional.
Yes.
And this is one of the best young arms in baseball. He'll throw right there with Yan Gomes and Sal Perez. Those would be two of the better throwing catchers in the American League.
You take the 2 seconds, which is average, which is good, Major League average, and you add it to that 1-4.
There goes Reyes, and Cabrera slaps it to third. Bogarts kicks it. Reyes goes to third base, and now he's going to make a turn. Bogarts trying to backhand it, commits the error. It was going to be a tough backhand, but he should have caught the ball. His 9th error as a third baseman. 2 errors in the inning. And the Blue Jays threatening again.
16th error overall for Bogarts, and you see him go after the ball. It's a play that just didn't get the glove down. Went a little bit too quickly, went under his glove, kicks it out into left field. That allowed Jose Reyes to go all the way to third base.
Well, Blue Jays got to take advantage of this shaky defense this inning and really build on this lead.
Take advantage of the walks and take advantage of the shoddy defense.
Bautista pops up the first pitch. Pedroia backpedaling into the outfield. And he makes the catch. Bautista has popped up twice to the second baseman. That's the first out of the inning and a big out for the Red Sox. That puts the double play in order. John Farrell's ball club now looking for a ground ball, and they've got a double play candidate at the plate in Deanna Navarro. A run in this inning, 3-0 Blue Jays. Navarro had an RBI single in the first. He drove in the first run of the game. Ball and a strike to the Blue Jays catcher.
Looks like Navarro's looking for something inside, doesn't it? That he wants to try and hook into right field. Holt is holding the runner on at first base, so he's got a hole that he can shoot for. If he guesses cutter and gets a cutter, he's going to try and pull one into the right.
You're right. He's not really moving. He's looking for a particular pitch, and you can see it in his body. Navarro this season overall has hit 300 with runners in scoring position. He's been one of the better clutch hitters for the Blue Jays.
By being very smart and picking out certain pitches.
Lays off that pitch. It's 3-1. Navarro sets his sights on one particular pitch or one particular area in these run-producing situations. That's the pitch he was looking for.
Boy, that was it right there, and he missed it. Pitch out over the plate, 3-1. It was elevated, and he fouled it back. Now, as a hitter, you have to forget about that. You got to forget about that. You just fouled the pitch back. Now you got to go up there and really grind it out.
There goes the runner. Ball is lined past Pedroia into center. Reyes comes in to score. Melky Cabrera is going to stop at third, and once again, Deanna Navarro with a big RBI single. 2 runs driven in tonight for the Blue Jays catcher. He's got 44 for the season.
He came back and he got a cutter. Blue Jays elect to start the runner. He gets that cutter and he knows what to do with it. He scalds it just past Pedroia out into right field. Start the runner, stay out of the double play, goes into right field. Melky, that's an easy jog into third base if he wants to.
Reyes scores for the second time tonight. Navarro is perfect 2 for 2 with a walk. He's driven in a pair. Francisco has an RBI tonight. The Red Sox used 3 relievers last night, 4 in the opener on Monday night. And they're starting to stir. Now it's Breslow, the left-hander, Craig Breslow. I spoke to Juan Francisco during batting practice tonight about the feeling of this stretch of games. Blue Jays closing ground on the Orioles. I said, have you ever won before? He said, in winter ball. Last winter. He said, it's a great feeling. 0-2. Breaking ball. This is going to be a run. Workman doesn't have a play. Cabrera comes in to score. It'll be an infield hit for Juan Francisco. Hit right off home plate. It went high into the air, and Workman didn't have a play.
But did you see the approach by Francisco at the plate when he got the 2 strikes? He was swinging hard the first 2 fastballs that he got from Workman. Fell behind 2 strikes and then got the curveball. Watch how he shortens it up. Stays back, kept the hands back, and hits it right off of the plate to score Melky Cabrera.
Well, I tell you what, the Blue Jays are having good at-bats. And when you have good at-bats, you string together big innings. And they have had a leadoff walk. They've had a sacrifice bunt and an error. They had a base hit with the runner moving. Everything is breaking right for the Blue Jays right now.
And that's what you're supposed to do. When you get the base on balls like they did in the first inning, a couple of walks, they came around to score. Leadoff walk this inning, came around to score, and then a couple of errors. You have to take advantage of it.
Workman has walked 4 tonight. 3 of those walks have come around to score. Colby Erasmus was robbed of an extra base hit his last time up by Johnny Gomes, the left fielder. inside. Workman seems as though he likes that cutter a lot. Sometimes that can be a negative thing for a pitcher because it's a little bit slower than your fastball, and you allow the hitter to get that head out. To me, the cutter has been overused. It's a one pitch and at bat pitch and a surprise pitch. You throw it in a fastball count, get a little bit movement, and it surprises the hitter. And it's a contact pitch.
Yeah. 3-1, throw the cutter so you can get a movement and maybe get a ground ball when the hitter's looking for the fastball. I agree with that for a starter. I think that's a good time to use it as a starter. I mean, I'd never tell Mariano Rivera not to throw the cutter. I mean,
there's only one Mariano Rivera.
Yeah. He's going to the Hall of Fame with that pitch. But you throw so many cutters and fall behind like he's fallen behind, you're going to straighten out that fastball.
There's another one that missed inside. And it's just 88, 89 miles an hour. It's not up there with your fastball, 93, 94. It becomes a very comfortable pitch to hit, especially when you're looking for it all the time. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 3 runs in this inning. Blue Jays have a 5-0 lead. Rasmus drives this to center. Jackie Bradley Jr. runs it down. Colby continues to hit in bad luck, swinging the bat well. The Blue Jays have really turned things around lately here in Boston. Look at their record at Fenway Park over the last 21 games. They're 15-6. They've pitched well. They have hit well. The run differential is really surprising.
50 in 21 games, and they've hit 35 home runs. This is a team that was constantly losing to the Red Sox here at Fenway Park, and they've turned it around, though, in the last 21.
Munenori Kawasaki 0 for 2. Hits this ball into center field. Jackie Bradley Jr. cruises back and makes a nice play. Jackie Bradley Jr. can run him down in center. Kawasaki hit it hard. They play him shallow, but the center fielder made a fine running catch, but the Blue Jays have taken a 5-0 lead. For the biggest at-bats in every game-changing play. Blue Jays in 60 seconds after every game only on Sportsnet.ca. And lately there have been a lot of game-changing plays and a lot of highlights, great at-bats and great defensive plays. And Blue Jays fans here at Fenway Park have been entertained by a very good series so far. Blue Jays trying to sweep away the Red Sox here in the 3rd and final game of this series, and trying to win their 5th game in 6 games on this road trip.
The fans are certainly into it. We saw them all over town in the last couple of days, taking pictures and coming out here to cheer on the Blue Jays.
Blue Jays taking advantage of some shaky defense tonight. They've scored 5 runs on 4 hits and 2 Red Sox errors. They have allowed 44 unearned runs so far this season. That's 1 more than they allowed all year last year. My oh my, how things can turn around quickly.
Think about that. How long ago was it? 6 months ago, 9 months ago, something like that. They won the World Series and everybody was sitting on top of the world.
That's a foul ball off the bat of Xander Bogaerts.
Right now they're talking about unloading about 3 or 4 of their big pieces, big players.
The Red Sox have been contacted by 14 teams in regard to Andrew Miller, their left-handed reliever. Everybody trying to add to their ball club, a lot of contending teams. Miller is really an interesting piece. Dominant left-hand around the bullpen.
He would be an upgrade for any team down the stretch.
A guy that can come in and get any tough left-hander out. Andrew Miller, a former #1 pick of the Detroit Tigers, has found a home in the bullpen. Bogaerts rips this one into the seats. It was interesting that the Red Sox, in discussions with some people around today, they're not interested in trading Koji Uehara. He is a free agent at the end of this season, but they want to bring him back. They believe if they make him a qualifying offer for 1 year, he will take it. And if they make him a qualifying offer, there probably aren't other clubs in baseball that would match that offer upwards of $14 million.
And the draft pick and the slot money and all the other things. So safe to say he'll be back.
High and deep to center. Rasmus back. It's over his head off the wall. Bogaerts is headed for second. He's making the turn and stops. There's that pop in the bat of Bogaerts we were talking about earlier. He doubles off the wall in center. His 19th double of the season.
Looked like he was fooled momentarily on that off-speed pitch from Mark Burley, but he kept his hands back. Watch how he stays back and then just unloads on this pitch. Really no chance for Rasmus to get this one. It was hit too hard and too high off that wall. That's the developing power I think you're going to see from Xander Bogaerts. Extra base power in that bat. Colby with a good effort, but really no chance to get that one.
Leadoff double. Bottom of the 5th inning. Blue Jays up 5-0. Mark Burley looking for his first win in 10 starts. He last won on June 1st. Pulled foul by Jackie Bradley Jr. Burley has 196 career wins. And he was steaming toward that 200 win plateau and then really hit a concrete wall. Hasn't been able to win since that win on June 1st.
6 losses, 3 no decisions. He actually left a couple of those ball games between now and June 1st with the lead, and the bullpen coughed it up. A couple other times, Blue Jays only scored 1 run for him.
He had that win against Kansas City at Rogers Center. He beat the Royals 4-0, went 8 innings, 6 hits, no runs. He was the first pitcher in the majors to 10 wins. And he still has 10 wins. 2-2. Tapped foul right at home plate. Mark Burley really got a lot of run support early in the season, and he got off to a terrific start. The ERA, it really took a beating last time out, just 3 innings against the Yankees, and his opponent's batting average up over 300.
And he knows at times he has pitched poorly since that last win. And he takes full blame for him. Says that one was on me, that last start against the Yankees.
There are 5 pitchers in the American League with 12 wins. Tanaka with the Yankees, who's on the disabled list. Sonny Gray of Oakland has 12. Rick Porcello of the Tigers. Scherzer of the Tigers. And Scott Kazmir of the A's. 2 A's, 2 Tigers. Strikeout. 1 out. Man at second. Let's check in with Jamie Campbell. Kevin Gausman, the pitcher for the Orioles, has given up just 2 hits, but now it's a 4-3 Oriole lead as they play in the 5th inning. Christian Vasquez, the catcher, tapped back to the mound his first time up. The Angels, they have 63 wins. They and the A's are the only team with 60 wins. Anthony Gose is not going to get this ball. It bounces into the Red Sox bullpen for a ground rule double. And the Sox are on the board. Bogaerts comes in to score the 8th RBI for Vasquez.
Everybody around here talks about this youngster. Well, if he could hit, well, I think he's going to hit. He's got a nice short swing. Watch this approach at the plate. He stays behind it and drives it to right field. It looked like Anthony Gose had a shot at it originally when it left the bats, but he overruns it, bounces out of play, and Sox are on the board.
I think there's entirely too much emphasis put on catchers hitting. First and foremost, can he catch? Can he call a game? Can he throw? And if he can hit, that's a bonus. There are premier positions on the field where defense comes first. Catcher, shortstop, center field. The backbone of your team. Then anything you get on top of that offensively. I mean, if you go back to traditional baseball, first and third, power. Corner, outfield, power. Catcher, shortstop, center field, catch it. Defense first.
They're going to be handling the ball so much. And with that kid, you can check off all of those.
There's a line drive to left. Melky Cabrera is there. The Red Sox starting to time up early here in the 5th. Brock Holt has lined out twice.
Mark is a veteran who's been around, and he reads bats as well as anybody. You're right, they're starting to time him up. It looked like he was going a little bit slower. More change-ups, more off-speed pitches to the bottom of the lineup, and now they're catching up to him. So he is now going to have to figure out a way to get these guys out. Looks like we got a pinch hitter here.
Daniel Nava batting for Shane Victorino, and Victorino's had injury problems. He's been dealing with hamstring issues, and apparently something has popped up as Nava takes over for Victorino. Nava hit second in the lineup last night. He went 1 for 4. He hit 5th in the opener on Monday night, also 1 for 4.
Starting to swing a hot bat also. He's a switch hitter. Can play multiple positions. You can see 372 over his last 12. It's a good run out there to save.
Popped up and playable. Goins, the second baseman, calls for it. The pinch hitter is retired. The Red Sox are on the board. Blue Jays have a 5-1 lead. When we come back, Anthony Gose will lead things off. And then back to the top of the order. Workman is out of the game. He made the emergency start as John Lester was scratched from this start. Workman goes 5 innings. He allows 4 hits, allowed just 2 earned runs of the 5 overall, and he got off to a rocky start. 2 of his 4 walks came to the first 2 batters he faced tonight. They both came around to score. So he throws 99 pitches and gives way to the bullpen, Craig Breslow, for the 40th time.
Breslow threw a scoreless 8th inning here Monday night against the Blue Jays. He's a veteran. He doesn't throw very hard. He moves the ball around the strike zone. Fastball, a little bit of a breaking ball. You can see he's had trouble at times throwing strikes. 24 strikeouts and 22 walks this season for Breslow.
Pinch hitter Daniel Nava hit for Victorino. He takes over defensively in right field. Beautiful shot on the moon here tonight, and the Blue Jays will leave New England and head down to Texas after this game to take on the Astros starting Thursday night. A 4-game series, 3 night games, and Sunday day game before they enjoy an off day on Monday. And remember, the Orioles are in town August 5th, a 3-game series with the division-leading Baltimore Orioles. Ryan Goins 1 for 2. Facing the left-hander Breslow. Goins had an infield single off of Breslow on Monday night. Way outside.
Teams will line up those left-handers out of the bullpen against the Blue Jays, won't they?
Yeah, they really have lately. Without Encarnacion, without Laurie, 2 of their regular right-handed hitters, they have been marching the left-handers out of that bullpen.
Yeah, one by one. We rarely see any righties coming out of that pen anymore.
Goins hits it hard to center field. Jackie Bradley Jr. runs it down. Boy, can he go get him. Right up against the wall in center. Another well-hit ball by Goins. But it's tough to get it over the head of the Red Sox center fielder.
That's 3 straight balls by the Blue Jays to center field, and Bradley Jr. has caught all of them. Right in front of the sign in left field. Hauls it in.
There's an example of the kind of defense you want in center field. A premier defensive position. 1 down, goes, hits it fair, and Brock Holt can't get this one. Daniel Nava played it very well off the wall in right, and Anthony Gose shoots one by the first baseman. He was robbed of a base hit by Holt in the second.
Well, if that ball gets down the line and into that corner, that's 2, maybe 3, but it hits right off of the wall right before it gets down into that corner and ricochets right to Nava, the right fielder. So Gose has to slam on the brakes.
Anthony now with a 4-game hit streak. He is 5 for 11 during that streak. Anthony had a stolen base in the 5th. Jose Reyes has scored 2 runs tonight. He walked and scored in the first. Had a sacrifice bunt, and he reached on the air by the pitcher. That was in the 5th. He also scored. It's a high fly ball to right. Daniel Nava is there. 2 down. Let's check in with Jamie Campbell. Hiroki Kuroda has been hit hard early. 3 runs on 5 hits. And the Rangers putting a whooping on the Yankees, but last night the Yankees prevailed. They scored 12 runs.
Yeah, Rangers score 11 and lose. That doesn't happen very often.
The 11 runs in that Ranger loss was the most for any team in a loss this season. It's hard to fathom he scored 11 runs and lose. A broken bat that flies right into the Blue Jays dugout. Gose is headed for third, and he's going to get in there with a slide. The barrel of that bat went directly into the Blue Jays dugout, just over the head of John Gibbons. There's the barrel. And fortunately, everything appears to be okay. But they were scattering in that dugout. Melky Cabrera gets his first hit of the night. Gose beats the throw into third.
One more time. Barrel into the dugout. Anthony Gose with great speed is going to challenge Jackie Bradley Jr., who has 12 outfield assists. He hustles all the way into third base, just ahead of that throw.
Jose Bautista hitless in 3 at-bats. Two outs, runners at the corners.
It's a time for a big base hit right here. You got a left-handed pitcher out there, a couple of runners on base, and a chance for Jose to do some big-time damage.
And it'll just take the momentum out of the Red Sox dugout. They scored a run in the bottom of the 5th. A 4-run lead in this ballpark is nothing. Bautista takes the high strike.
He's always good for a home run here, isn't he?
Yeah, he hadn't hit one yet. He's due. 18 career home runs in this ballpark. Off-speed pitch. It's ball 3. Just off the plate inside, Bautista takes another walk. That's 5 walks issued by the Red Sox tonight. Melky goes to second. The bases are loaded for Deanna Navarro. Another big night for Navarro at the plate. He's got a couple of RBI singles. He's also walked.
And a good night can be a great night with a base hit right here.
Jays have scored in the first and the fifth, trying to add to their lead here in the sixth. Pair of grand slams for Navarro. Ghost with a base hit. Cabrera with a one-out hit. Bautista with the walk. That's how the bases were loaded. Base hit to right field. Ghost is in to score. Here comes Cabrera. The throw to the plate is in time. Vasquez swipe tagged Cabrera as he was trying to get past the catcher. But Deanna Navarro with another RBI. He has 3, and Melky Cabrera is asking about the lane. He said he's blocking me off home plate. That's what he's arguing right now. And John Gibbons has come out of the dugout. Where's the lane, Gibbons says. Mark Wagner is the home plate umpire. And watch where the catcher is. He stands up, sets up in the base path, and there's no place for Melky Cabrera to go. The Blue Jays have a case here. Anthony Ghost was indicating slide, and Melky says where?
Into the catcher? Well, it looked like the throw started taking him into the runner. And they're going to review this one.
This is interesting. Mike Winters, the crew chief, on the headset with the home plate umpire, Mark Wagner, who made the call. The call on the field is that Cabrera is out on the tag. So the umpires are reviewing the fact that the catcher may have set up blocking the plate and Melky Cabrera had nowhere to go. This will be interesting because watch how the catcher slides into the base path. Ghost comes in to score on the base hit by Navarro.
He's okay now.
There. But he slid into the base path before he had the baseball. There, he's made the move. The ball's not there yet, and Cabrera has nowhere to slide. Wagner indicates the tag. Ghost is saying slide away, slide away. He does a great job, but Melky has nowhere to slide. So Navarro has 1 RBI for the time being, and another one pending.
Yeah. This is going to be very interesting, and they're taking their time with this one.
So it's a 3 RBI game for Navarro to this point. And the Blue Jays have 1 run in the 6th. This review, understandably, is taking a long time. A run is in the balance.
A run, an out, an RBI. They got their answer. Out at the plate.
They call him out at the plate. According to the umpire interpreting it, Vasquez set up correctly. Cabrera is out, but the Blue Jays get a run. It's 6-1 as we head to the bottom of the 6th. today for just $24.99 when you upgrade or switch to select new Android phones on a 2-year Share Everything plan. So check it out. Sony Smart Band. You can pick it up at Rogers today. My first game. Well, you're watching a pretty good game, despite the fact you're a Red Sox fan. Lots happening here as the Blue Jays have taken a 6-1 lead. Dustin Pedroia, the 3-hitter, has singled tonight. Mark Burley looking for his first win since June 1st. The Blue Jays starters have 44 wins this season. On the ground, Reyes at short gobbles it up. 1 down. The 44 wins for the Blue Jays, that's the 4th highest total in the majors. The Dodgers have 51 wins by their starters. The Tigers and the Oakland Athletics have 46 wins. And the Blue Jays have 44. They're alone in 4th place. Last year, all season long, Blue Jays starters had 46 wins. That's been the biggest improvement on this team.
That's been the biggest story, I think, for this team this year, is what they have been getting from their starters. I mean, honestly, when the season started, there were a lot of question marks, I think, in the starting rotation. You knew you'd get the innings from Ari Dickey and Mark Burley. I didn't know if you were going to get the wins or not as that ball's skied to left field.
Easy play for Melky Cabrera. Napoli's retired.
But then there were a lot of question marks. Drew Hutchison was coming back. Jay Happ, what were you going to get from him? Dustin McGowan was in the starting rotation. Brandon Morrow was in the starting rotation. Drew Hutchison is getting better, and then Marcus Stroman has come up, and the whole thing is tied together.
Burley has 10 wins. Dickey has 9. Jay Happ has 8. Hutchison and Stroman have 7. That's good production. A balanced 5-man rotation.
And it's so funny. You and I will talk to the opposition when we're playing teams that come into Rogers Center or whoever we're playing. They're like, Blue Jays need some starting pitching, don't they? You and I both look at it and go, no, that's not the problem. Starters have been great.
The focus has shifted from time to time. And to be honest with you, if the relievers had done anything in April, this team would be up by 3 or 4 games.
I'm with you on that one. Casey Jansen missing the first 6 weeks or so of the season really hurt.
And they had opportunities, and you'll remember the games in Minnesota, games in Kansas City, games in Pittsburgh.
Yeah, there was some crushers.
Wins in hand.
Yep. Everybody had to move up a notch in the bullpen, and it just didn't work out. Ever since Casey came back, seems to calm down.
Strike 3 called, and Johnny Gomes knew it. Mark Burley, a quick inning here in the 6th. He strikes out Johnny Gomes. Food Banks Canada. It'll take place the weekend of August 8th through the 9th and 10th. Blue Jays take on the Detroit Tigers all weekend, so make sure you come down to Rogers Center and bring your non-perishable food items and cash donations. There are mystery bags available for a monetary donation. Call the Blue Jays today at 416-341-1234. Or you can always get your tickets by logging online at bluejays.com. The 30th Annual Lady Jays Food Drive in support of Food Banks Canada. Third pitcher of the night for Boston is the left-hander Andrew Miller. We mentioned that Miller has been the subject of a lot of trade talks the last couple of days.
He's never fun to face. You see the 49 games that leads the Red Sox pitching staff in appearances, 66 strikeouts for Andrew Miller. That leads the relievers. He's got 13 hold, and opponents are hitting just 171 against Andrew Miller. He's got a very good fastball and a wipeout, and I mean wipeout breaking ball.
Miller is the pitcher, and with that, Nolan Rimo will get his first at bat since coming off the disabled list. He takes a first pitch strike from Miller. Rimo did not play in a rehab game down in the minor leagues. He just took batting practice, worked on getting healthy again. He strained a calf muscle running the bases in the Tampa Bay series right before the All-Star break. Up and away, it's 2 balls and a strike.
This is never a day at the beach for a left-hander when you got to face Andrew Miller. So John Gibbons goes to his bench, and now he's got some righties off that bench.
He's got 3 right-handers available, and Reimold is pinch hitting for Francisco. An opportunity to get him an at-bat. He hasn't had an at-bat since before the All-Star break. Strike 3 call. He thought it was off the plate outside. He'll go back to the dugout. 1 down.
Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy. Don't miss this action-packed epic space adventure from the studio that brought you the Avengers, in theaters in 3D and IMAX 3D Friday.
Kobe Rasmus has hit the ball hard twice tonight. Nothing to show for it. 0 for 3 so far. Andrew Miller is now 30 years old. He was a first-round pick of the Detroit Tigers on the University of North Carolina. And he made it to the big leagues in his draft season. Made his debut at Yankee Stadium, and the first batter he faced was Melky Cabrera.
I think any team who is in a playoff hunt would love to have this guy coming in the playoffs to help you put some shutdown innings together.
There's so many good left-handed hitters and a lot of left-handed power hitters, but you bring this guy in and he neutralizes them immediately. He had foot surgery last July. He had a ligament problem and just knocked him out from the majority of the season.
Yeah, he only threw in 37 games last year with the injury, and they still won the World Series. John Farrell was telling us before the ball game, as you see the strikeout one more time, a slider down and away. He was giving credit to Bobby Valentine, who was the manager of the Boston Red Sox, taking Andrew Miller and putting him in the bullpen. He had a hamstring injury. He just couldn't get stretched out enough and had to limit his innings.
Danny Valencia got his first at bat as a Blue Jay in last night's game. He pinch hit against Miller and went after the first pitch and flied out to center. Valencia picked up to add some depth from the right side. He is a third baseman that made his major league debut at first last night. Well, if Miller is auditioning, he's doing a pretty good job. There are scouts in the ballpark, but you don't need to scout Andrew Miller. Find out if he's healthy. That's all you need to know.
Tell you,
Valencia gets a piece.
His stuff is so nasty. Teams should think about acquiring him to make him a closer. I mean, he's that good.
Yeah, he can close. He's at a point in his career where he understands how nasty his stuff is, so he's not going to get too cute.
He's only allowed 1 run in 22 innings here at Fenway Park.
How about that? Andrew Miller strikes out the side here in the 7th. 3 up, 3 down. All 3 go down on strikes. Here's number 15 for the Blue Jays, and it's a pretty prominent number in the franchise history. Lloyd Mosby wore 15, had a great run. How about Pat Tabler, 91-92. World Series number 15, and then Sean Green. He too had a terrific run wearing number 15 for the Toronto Blue Jays, and it's kind of a cool number. Why did you wear 15?
Because that's the only one they had.
Same reason I wore 13.
Yeah, famous 15s. I don't know about that middle guy there. Mosby was a little bit better player than I was, and Sean Green certainly was, for sure.
You were part of the World Series team. That's a famous 15. Everybody remembers all the numbers on that World Series team in '92.
Yeah, Jeff Ross says, do you want to wear number 15? Sure. Got any other numbers? Not really. Okay. Pretty easy.
They told me when I came to Toronto that number 21 was taken. I said, well, it's not on the roster. Yeah, it's for a minor league player. We're saving it for him. I'd played, 14 years in the big leagues?
That minor league player better have been pretty good.
Ron Shepard.
Like I said.
So I wore number 13. It was either number 56 or number 13. So that's the first time I wore number 13.
You made it famous.
I mean, I don't know how famous I made it.
Everybody knows you wore number 13.
Yeah. I broke my leg, too. Stephen Drew has got a couple of hits tonight. He has a leadoff single here in the 7th. Mark Burley working into the 7th. Blue Jays bullpen just now starting to go to work. Bullpen's in good shape.
Even though they just have 6 relievers, it's a big inning right here. That one extra inning for the manager.
Well, they've got that extra inning from Marcus Stroman last night. And Stroman had a big pitch count. There's a fly ball to right. Anthony Gose is there, and Bogarts is retired. Blue Jays bullpen. Sanchez, Cecil, and Jansen worked last night. Aaron Luke has had a couple of nights off. Actually, he hasn't worked in 3 games, so he is well rested and getting loose behind Mark Burley. Boy, I like the fact they've got a 6-man bullpen. I like this 7-man, the 11-man pitching staff. You get that extra position player. Gives you so many more options. And granted, if you had your 3 regular offensive players, you're not going to pinch hit much.
Right.
But now you've got to mix and match. You need the extra bodies on the bench.
6-man bullpen might also make the starters push them a little bit further, like John Gibbons did last night. He pushed Marcus Stroman up to 115 pitches and got an extra inning from him.
Looking for 7 innings, looking for 21 outs. That's the magic number in most managers' eyes. Starter gives you 21 outs. Managers will take it from there.
Yeah, he can find 6 outs out of his bullpen if he has to.
There's a drive deep to center. Rasmus has got room. Plenty of room in that triangle. 420 feet away, that wall in center.
The 2014 Honda Civic, Canada's best-selling car 16 years in a row, and the official vehicle of the Toronto Blue Jays.
A diamond in the night for sure. Beautiful Fenway Park. Two outs. Blue Jays trying to sweep the 3-game series. Catcher Christian Vasquez takes a strike. Vasquez with the only RBI for the Red Sox tonight. He had a 5th inning RBI ground rule double. Ball and a strike. The Red Sox have 6 hits. Stephen Drew has 2 of them. Mark Burley's been sharp tonight.
Yeah. Following that last outing, now he's going to be really strong. He only threw 3 innings and 67 pitches his last time out against the Yankees. He has not hit 100 pitches yet. If he can get Vasquez here, I'd give him another inning. Only lasted 3 last time. It's a cool night. He's throwing well. The Red Sox haven't figured him out yet.
Took a shot at that inside corner, as he often does with that fastball. Full count, 2 outs. Bautista backs up behind Stephen Drew at first. And there goes the runner. Fouled off by the hitter. So we'll do it again. Another 3-2 pitch. Blue Jays have a 6-1 lead. Ball 4. That might be it for Mark Burley, and here comes the manager, John Gibbons. There's the call to the bullpen. Aaron Loop is ready. Mark Burley with the 2-out walk to the number 9 hitter. But he is in line for the win. It would be Burley's 11th win of the season. Career win 197. A job well done by Burley. Loop into the game to face Brock Holt when we come back. Tips his cap to the Blue Jay fans in attendance here at Fenway Park. Burley looking for his first win in 10 starts, and now it's over to the bullpen. Aaron Loup, appearance number 50 on the season.
Last worked 4 days ago when he came in relief from Drew Hutchison and helped hold off the New York Yankees for Hutch's 7th win. An inning and a third, just gave up a hit and had a couple of strikeouts. So he is well rested, and this is where John Gibbons likes to bring him in with runners on base.
Throws a first pitch strike to Brock Holt. Loup has had a terrific season. He has taken over the late inning lefty situation. Way outside. Loup this season has stranded 7, has allowed just 7 of 48 base runners to score. That's only 15%.
You know, that's by far the most on the ball club. 48 inherited runners, only 7 scoring all season long against them.
Strike 2.
Pitch right there. And this is where John Gibbons likes to bring him in. You mentioned he's been in 49 games and he's inherited 48 runners. Says his stuff plays in these situations.
But he throws hard. He has 3+ pitches. Breaking ball for the strikeout. 2 more inherited runners stranded by Aaron Loup. Mark Burley in line for the win. Enter for your chance at SleemanSpeakeasy.ca.
You know, Ryan Goins is known for his glove. You can see a runner at third base and 2 outs, and he takes away a hit from Jackie Bradley Jr., saves a run for his pitcher, Mark Burley, with his fine play. Our play of the game brought to you by Ryan Goins tonight.
Goins 1 for 3. He was robbed of a extra base hit by Jackie Bradley Jr. in the 6th. He had a line single in his first at bat back in the 2nd. Bert Badenhop, the right-hander, into the ball game. This is his 7th appearance against the Blue Jays this season.
Seems like he pitches against us every other day. There's his number, is outstanding. Earned run average at 286. He gets his share of ground balls 77% of the time. The ball, when it's in play, is going to be on the ground. He gets a lot of grounders, a lot of double plays. Got to make him get that ball up.
Gets ahead of Ryan Goins. The Blue Jays batting in the 8th. Blue Jays got out to an early lead. Brandon Workman, the Red Sox starter, walked Reyes and Cabrera to start the game. They both came around to score, and the Jays were off and running.
Big time sinker. He'll change up and a little bit of a slider. So Ryan Goins thought that ball was outside.
Upstairs. Blue Jays won the opener 14-1. Came back last night and held on to win 4-2. Tonight they have a 6-1 lead. Held the Red Sox to 4 runs in the 3 games. Owens tried to check. He went around. Home plate umpire Mark Wagner calls him for the strikeout.
That's 4 straight strikeouts by the Red Sox pitching staff.
Andrew Miller struck out the side in his only inning of work in the 7th. Blue Jays have outscored the Red Sox 24-4 in this series. If this lead can hold up, Mark Burley will improve his career mark against the Red Sox to 10-10. This was his 26th start of his career against Boston. Brock Holt shovels to Badenhop and made a nice play on Anthony Gose. Mark Burley goes 6 2/3. He allows 6 hits, 1 run, an earned run. He walked 1. That was the last batter he faced in this ball game and struck out 2. A good outing for Mark Burley and one that he really needed.
Yeah, he made pitches when he had to make pitches against the Boston Red Sox. Blue Jays got him some runs early, and then he did the rest.
Jose Reyes has scored twice tonight without benefit of a hit. He walked in the first. He had a sacrifice bunt in the 5th and reached on the air by the pitcher, Brandon Workman. Two balls and a strike to the leadoff man.
Jose's put together a very good July himself. He had a spark plug at the top of that lineup. He's been driving the ball a lot better.
This one's going to get down for a base hit. Another broken bat base hit for the Blue Jays. Melky Cabrera had a broken bat hit his last time up. This was John Lester's start. He was scratched because of the possibility of a trade. The Red Sox scratched him after the game last night, called up Brandon Workman. Lester is still in uniform. John Farrell, the manager, said, hey, he's still with us. And if he is here beyond 4 p.m. tomorrow afternoon, he will start on Sunday for the Red Sox. What are your thoughts? Percentages of him still being here?
Still being here? 10 to 15%.
Yeah, that's about it. Melky Cabrera goes after the first pitch and singles into right field. Another multi-hit game for Melky Cabrera. He just keeps on hitting.
Even though he doesn't get a hit his first 3 times up, he comes up with a multi-hit game by collecting hits in the 6th and now in the 8th inning. And with that base hit, they're going to get him off his feet.
He's been on base 4 times tonight. Now, Melky plays every inning of every game, so he is out of the game. Melky Cabrera has the most at-bats in the major leagues. So Steve Tolleson will give him a little bit of a break as he comes on to pinch run. Jose Bautista 0 for 3 with a walk. Melky Cabrera with his 41st multi-hit game of the season. Second most behind Jose Altuve. The Blue Jays will see Altuve and the Astros tomorrow night in Houston, a 4-game series. Altuve also leads the American League with 150 hits. Melky Cabrera has 139. He's second.
We've had a chance to watch Melky all season long. I can't imagine somebody having more hits than him. 11 more. Every time we look up, Melky's got base hits.
Melky has had a terrific season. He's third in the American League in total bases, behind Jose Abreu and Mike Trout. He is putting together a heck of a resume for free agency.
Playing in the field too. We haven't even talked about his defense. It's been superb this year.
Bautista hits it hard, but Pedroia was shaded up the middle. The Blue Jays leave a pair. And we'll go to the bottom of the 8th. The Jays leading 6-1. Now it's time for a Blue Jays Central update. Here's Jamie Campbell and Greg Zahn. Anthony Gose started this game in right field. Melky Cabrera was lifted in favor of the pinch runner, so Gose moves from right to left. With that, Bautista, who started at first, moves out into right field. Tolleson, who pinch ran for Melky Cabrera, takes over defensively at third, and that pushes Danny Valencia from third to first. So shuffling of the defense to give Melky Cabrera the rest of the game off. Another great crowd on hand and opportunity for the Blue Jays to sweep the season series so far here at Fenway. 6 in a row.
How about that? They were getting beat a lot by the Red Sox just a couple of years ago.
And Yamada goes after the first pitch. Ryan Goins throws him out. 1 pitch, 1 out. Aaron Luke closed out the 7th, striking out Brock Holt with a couple of boards. The Red Sox will continue this homestand. The New York Yankees are in tomorrow night. Excuse me, Thursday night. They have Thursday off. They'll play Friday night, August 1st, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Then the Red Sox go to St. Louis for 3. Pedroia, that's a fair ball. Anthony Gose has to come after it as that ball caromed off the wall into shallow left field. Pedroia has his second hit of the night. But the Red Sox, as you take a look at this Pedroia hit, he goes down and hits it inside the bag at third. Tollison doesn't have a chance. It's past him before he can stretch for it.
Good job by Gose running that ball down and keeping him to a single.
But you look at the Red Sox schedule, they go into St. Louis, play 3, the Angels for 3 in Anaheim, and then they finish up with a 2-game series in Cincinnati after an off day on the 11th of August. The Blue Jays will go from Boston to Houston to play the Astros in a 3-game series starting tomorrow, a 4-game series starting tomorrow night.
And the Astros wallop the A's today.
8-1 in a day game. Then the Blue Jays have an off day on August 4th before they pick it up with the Baltimore Orioles, a 3-game series starting Tuesday night. And then the Detroit Tigers in for the weekend series. 6 games on the upcoming homestand, all good opponents. A couple of front runners, the Orioles and the Tigers.
It's funny you mentioned that, and then this big series right here after the big series in New York, and no one's talking about Houston.
This is driven to right. Bautista makes an easy play of it.
And the reason I say that is you don't want to be looking too far ahead and forget about the Astros. You got to take care of business, and you don't want to have a letdown when you go in to play the Astros. It'll all start tomorrow night. Drew Hutchison will take them out for the Blue Jays, followed by Jay Happ, R.A. Dickey, and Marcus Stroman. But you've seen teams before that have a big series. If they can hold on to this game, sweep this series, and then you start thinking about going home on this road trip, you forget about a team. No letdown.
Jared Cozart will start for the Astros in the opener on Thursday night. And then on Friday night, Colin McHugh will go up against Jay Happ. But you're right, the Blue Jays have had a tendency to play down to their opponents the last several years. Can't do that now.
No time for that. Not at all.
Johnny Gomes falls behind 0-2. Brett Oberholzer will pitch for Houston on Saturday, the left-hander. So we might get to see Valencia and Reimold in that game on Saturday. And then they will wrap things up on Sunday, August 3rd, prior to the off day for the Blue Jays. Scott Feldman, another right-hander. Good catch by the fan in that second deck. Strike 3 call. Johnny Gomes caught looking for a second time tonight. Aaron Luke with his second strikeout. Let's go to the ninth. The Blue Jays looking to sweep. Yana Navarro's had a big night. the 2014 Honda Civic, Canada's best-selling car, 16 years in a row, and the official vehicle of the Toronto Blue Jays.
Our drive of the game tonight might be the shortest drive of the game that we have had all season. Watch this one right off the top of the plate by Juan Francisco. Back to the pitcher, it scores a run. Francisco gets an infield hit. Melky Cabrera scores. So our drive went higher than it went as far.
Francisco picks up a couple of RBIs tonight. The Red Sox haven't had much to cheer about, the Red Sox fans, in this series. Blue Jays fans, on the other hand, have had a great series. Blue Jays on the verge of sweeping the Red Sox here at Fenway.
They've had a great trip to Boston for the last 3 days. Proudly wearing their Blue Jay gear.
Koji Uehara, working for the first time in this series, is having another terrific season. Look what left-handers are hitting against him. 138, and he's got a whip under 1.
Look at the walks. He's only walked 6 batters all season long for Uehara. 21st save last Sunday at Tampa Bay. That 21 saves ties his career high, which he set last year.
He was the 3rd choice as closer for the Red Sox last year. And a couple of guys get hurt. He stepped up, and he really came on. He pitched great in the postseason. Had a couple of saves in the World Series. Made 5 appearances. Yanni Navarro puts a charge in it. Nava back at the wall, right up against the wall. Yanni Navarro made a bid for a home run.
And he's
swinging about, isn't he?
Yeah, he comes up about 3 feet short to right field. That's a deep part of this ballpark, right at the 380 sign in right center field. He just needed about 3 or 4 more feet. Nava to the wall, finds the ball, and hauls it in for the first out.
That's into the seats at Rogers Center, but you're not at Rogers Center, so it's just a long out. Uehara has given up 6 home runs this season. Opponent's hitting 181 against Koji. Dan Johnson getting an at bat. He's hitting in the 5th spot. He's late on that fastball. Behind 0-2.
You know, the thing about Uehara, he doesn't blow the ball by you. He just throws strike after strike after strike with his fastball, his splitter. He might mix in a breaking ball every now and then. But he doesn't give you any breathing room, does he, as a hitter?
You never ever feel like you're going to get one right over the heart of the plate. He's got exceptional command. He pitched for the Tokyo Giants, the Yomiuri Giants in Tokyo, and he was a starter. His rookie season, he went 20-4 with a 2.09 ERA. Bouncing ball, they were playing the shift, and that's Stephen Drew, the shortstop, who makes a nice play. Johnson is out. It looked like he's limping a little bit as he went beyond the bag, and he reached down to grab his left leg, and you can see he's kind of gimpy as he gets back into that dugout. George Poole is there. So you sit all night long, and then you hit the ball on the infield and watch him react as he crosses first base. He felt something right on that left leg.
He's in for the DH, so he won't have to go out and play defense. Time to take him up into the clubhouse and get some treatment.
Uehara ahead 0-2. He is a strike-throwing machine. Last year, he had a 109 earned run average with 21 saves. He gave up 33 hits in 74 in the 3rd inning. 3 up, 3 down for Uehara. Strikes out Rasmus. We go to the bottom of the 9th. The Blue Jays have a 5-run lead. Dustin McGowan into the game to close it out. Ken Reed and Ivanka Osmak. What's going on is that trade deadline is getting closer and closer, and I'm sure they'll have some updates on some of the rumors around baseball. Plus, they'll break down the ball games. Baltimore and the Angels, Yankees and Texas, and Blue Jays trying to sweep the Red Sox. All that coming up right after this ball game on Connected.
First time that we have seen Dustin McGowan in this series against the Red Sox. Last pitched in New York, where he threw up an inning and had a strikeout. I'll tell you what, he has been using his fastball a lot more, and the ball's moving all over the place. He's sinking it, he's cutting it, he's got a good slider, and ever since he's given up a couple of home runs off of his breaking ball, he's become a little bit more aggressive with his fastball, and he's really attacked that strike zone. Throwing good baseball right now.
He's going to pitch in one-inning situations, so why not air it out? He's in here in the ninth. Obviously not a save situation. Steven Drews had a 2-hit night tonight. A double and a single.
I asked Dustin the other day, I said, how are you making that ball move so much? And he looked at me and he sheepishly said, I don't know. I just throw it and it just moves for me.
Whatever you're doing, keep doing it. That pitch was in the zone, but called the ball. It's 1-1. Trade deadline is 4 p.m. tomorrow afternoon. I'm sure the Blue Jays are burning up the phone lines, trying to figure out if they can add to this ball club. There are a lot of teams in contention for a playoff berth, and everybody is trying to get better. The Orioles have been linked to John Lester in the rumors. Detroit, they're always trying to upgrade.
They already traded for Joakim Soria, and that didn't work out too well for him the other day, did it?
He got roughed up a little bit. How about the Miami Marlins? They have been mentioned in the discussion with John Lester. Miami's won 9 of their last 10, including 6 in a row. And they are 5 games back in 3rd place in the National League East. The Central in the National League is all jammed up. 5 games separate the top 4 teams. Anybody could make a move there.
And he would be a difference maker on any of those teams. Pittsburgh, we've heard his name there. St. Louis could be a destination.
Whoever is involved in discussions with John Lester, they're going to have major league ready players. That's what it's going to take to complete the deal with the Red Sox. Ground ball. Danny Valencia steps on the bag. 1 down. This might be the last time you see John Lester in a Red Sox uniform. He is in the dugout, making his way toward the clubhouse. Dustin McGowan gets the first out of the inning.
And those major league players that you were talking about that the Red Sox won, they're looking for everyday players.
Position players. It's interesting. The Red Sox believe they need to trade for position players, and they can buy pitchers. They'll buy free agent pitchers, and they'll go out and add to their pitching staff. Isn't it funny how quickly fortunes change? You have the Red Sox playing in the World Series. They've got Lackey and Lester and Buchholz, and everybody says, man, they're really rich in pitching. Not the case if you trade John Lester.
Big question is who's going to replace him?
There's nobody on the free agent market that can replace John Lester because he has pitched well in this ballpark. They know exactly what they have in John Lester. You bring somebody else in here and you don't know how they're going to react. 1-1 to Bogarts, tapped foul. Interesting stretch for the Blue Jays. This will be the 10th game against the Red Sox and Yankees over the last 2 weeks, and they will go 8-2 against their AL East rivals. There's another drive to right. This ball is hit deep. Bautista looking up. Ball bounces up against the wall in right. Bogarts with his second double to right center. He's a good-looking young hitter. He hit a ball to the wall in center in the 7th inning.
He just overpowered that fastball right there. He's got plenty of bat speed to drive the ball out of the ballpark. You like to see this from young players right here, the ability to go the other way with authority. At that time, he sent Jose all the way to the wall for extra bases.
His 20th double of the season. He's got 20 doubles, a triple, and 8 homers. Jackie Bradley Jr. has got 0 for 3 tonight. Gets it on the ground. Reyes hits short behind the bag. 2 down. So Christian Vasquez will come to the plate. Blue Jays have scored 6 runs on 9 hits tonight. The Red Sox a single run on 8 hits. Vasquez has the only RBI for Boston. The Blue Jays have played well in this ballpark. This would be their 16th win in their last 22 games at Fenway. This is trouble down the right side, but it slices foul. Boy, you're right about the Blue Jays. They're really going to have to maintain their focus tomorrow night in Houston. You go into Yankee Stadium, you win 2 of 3. You come into Fenway, you sweep them. You got to make sure you keep up that intensity and keep the nose to the grindstone.
Yeah, you don't think about Baltimore going back home and facing Baltimore and Detroit, those first-place clubs. You still have 4 big games down in Houston. You got to take care of business down there.
Baltimore has won their game tonight 4-3 over the Angels. Kevin Gausman picking up his 5th win of the season.
What do they call those games in football? Trap games? Houston, you don't want that to be a trap game, those 4 games down
It's
there.
a trap series for sure. You go in counting up 3 wins and you could end up walking out of there losing the series. Texas has a lead over the Yankees as they're playing in the 6th inning. They lead 3-2. Texas scored 3 runs in the bottom of the 1st. The Yankees have scored 1 in the 1st, 1 in the 3rd. That'll do it. Vasquez strikes out. McGowan has a good inning. The Blue Jays sweep the Red Sox here in Boston, and they move 9 games over 500 at 59-50.
They had a big series in New York and they won a tough game on Sunday. So you're thinking, well, can they maintain it? Well, they did for 3 straight days. They got production from the starters, the bullpen. They came up with clutch hits. They played good defense. John Gibbons got to be very happy about the way his team is playing right now.
Mark Burley wins for the first time since June 1st. Career win number 197. Blue Jays sweep the Red Sox. Stay tuned. Connected coming up. Ken Reed of Anka Osmac. We'll see you tomorrow night from Houston.